Hey folks, last November I purchased this Dendrobioum Kingianum from Seagrove Orchids. It only had 2 canes and was in a tiny pot, and it kept wanting to fall over, so I put it in a larger terracotta pot. And what's nice is these terracotta pots actually help breathing, so if you don't have a typical orchid pot with holes in the side, you can always use a clay pot. And I'm going to be sticking a piece of plastic, this is just a plant tab, down the edge to make sure none of the roots are attached. And this is a safe way to make sure that these roots are, to dislodge them if they are attached. But I already have some sphagnum moss in here, so this way I can see the height. Because of the thickness of the clay, I have this a little higher than the lip, but that's okay because I can compensate for the thickness of the clay. So this came right out, which is nice, and can sit in there, and it's going to look a lot nicer in a bigger pot and fill out better. I was happy that this grew several new canes over the past year, but plants, when they start producing growth, they're focusing on growth and not necessarily on blooming. But they say that if you stress the plant, the dendrobiums, over the wintertime by not watering them as much, they're more likely to produce blooms in the spring than additional canes. So I'm just filling out the edges as I can with bits of sphagnum so that it can be snug in there, and then I can water this. But yeah, it's so easy to transplant an orchid from a clay pot, and if you don't want to spend a lot on an orchid pot because they are expensive, you can always use clay pots. So that's a nice thing about them, because they do breathe a lot better than a regular ceramic pot. So even though they don't have the holes on the sides, you are GTG, good to go. So yeah, I don't want this to be too compressed, but if it is, shouldn't matter because of the large holes on the sides. Anyway, I'm about done filling this in, and then I'm going to go ahead and water this. But I hope you enjoyed this video and have some good insight on transplanting your orchids or trying to grow them in a clay pot. Let me know in the comments below if you had as good enough luck as I have had in a clay pot. If I eventually take more keikis of these, I can put them in little clay pots till I transplant them into a larger pot. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and happy planting.